Okay, I believe we are live. Good.
Yay!
Aloha, friends. Michaela Kennedy here with startingmyownbusiness.org and my dear friend Jennifer.
Jennifer,
How are you today?
I am good. I am good. Thank you. With the Academy of Holistic Healing.com. And yes, it has been an interesting last few days. And as always, it's wonderful to catch up on Thursdays and to share what's been going on and being able to do a little bit of learning and teaching together.
Gosh, I'm just really loving these Thursdays, and it's so funny because I know in the past there are always things within any kind of a learning curve that you need to get over and accomplish, and unless you have that real highly focused drive to learn it, we allow negative stuff to get in our ways. And the last few weeks, even though we've been doing this for a few months now, we have gone back and forth a little bit as to who's the host.
Mm-hmm.
And with this series, I'm the host, and I'm still having gotten my head around Google and the Hangouts and the events and which to use. And And I think that if I didn't have the impetus of Jennifer, knowing that you're waiting for me and then knowing there's an audience waiting for me, I just would have gone, ah.
Yeah, it would be very easy to just say to heck with it.
Yeah.
I'll get it next week.
Yeah.
Yes, talking about the power of a mastermind and a power of accountability.
Yes, and excuses are big time in our society.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting, recently I've been getting this image of, remember the movie Pay It Forward?
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people that are watching have seen it, and if you haven't seen it, go out and rent it. It's an awesome movie. And the little boy has gotten, the mother has a date with the little boy's teacher, and she's late for work, or late from work, whatever reason she's late, and she comes in and she's not feeling too great, and she's really nervous and upset. She doesn't want to go on this date, and he's like, you gotta go, and she's like, I can't go. She goes, I stink, I have to take a shower, and he's like, no, you don't, and he takes the underarm perspirant, and he's putting it in her arm, and he's pushing her out the door, and she's like throwing on her shoes and like half walking like this out the door. And I think a lot of us think we have to wait for perfection to go out the door. And we don't, because if she had decided that she was not going to go on that date, she never would have had that amazing relationship she had with that teacher.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And because nothing is ever perfect, it's never completely done. It's never the right, perfect, exact time, because at the base of it all, at the center of it all, is our belief systems that will throw up all the sorts of blocks to keep us comfortable, to keep us safe, to keep us from getting into a growth situation. So no, things are never perfect.
And that's a nice quote from Salvador Dali, too. Perfection is an illusion, so get over it.
Yeah, yes. And it's funny, it's much easier said than done. And
absolutely. And that's what these 10 Precepts of Creativity is all about. That's why we keep referring you back, and we refer ourselves back. As we're doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for you, dear audience, too. Mm-hmm. Because it's never something that you have the aha moment, but it's habits. It's those tiny habits that need to be repeated and repeated. And even on your, the week before you die, if you're an old woman or old man, if you're looking to create, you're still going to have to look at your old habits and
mm-hmm.
and really get it. It's all about clarity. It's this constant clarity.
Yes, and I would love to share a story, because
oh, please do. Yeah.
This is a reminder that it's never. It's something that everybody has to make a conscious choice to do, because I was telling Michaela before we started that yesterday was one of those days where I had two conflicting lines of thought. One line of thought was, what am I doing? I need to stop playing like this. I need to stop thinking that I'm going to be able to make anything good of this. I need to just go back into the workforce. What am I doing? You know, this is a waste of time, waste of energy. I'm just going to set myself up for failure. What am I doing? And this is what I was hearing in my voice, everything that I was doing. So now yesterday was a day where I opened up the chakra class for enrollees. I have a couple of spots available for coaching for clients, and I made some very large steps forward yesterday. So in the steps forward, thank you. In the steps forward, I kept hearing all of these negative things, and it would have been really easy to let them stop me. But what I thought was very fascinating is in the choosing to set them aside and go, yes, I hear you, and set it aside. The universe met me halfway, more than halfway, because I had 4 separate individual people come up to me either through Facebook or to call me up on the phone. And actually 2 of them, I shouldn't say that, 2 of them came up to me face to face and told me how much our working together had helped them achieve their goals. And I was floored, to say the least. So I think about that and think, had I listened to all of these negative voices, because those have been going on for years. I'm not a newbie to this. I have been doing this for years. Those voices have they go through stages of being really, really loud or being kind of quiet just in the distance. But had I listened to those, I had 4 examples yesterday of people whose lives would not be as good as they are today had I listened.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and true, those negative emotions, none of us are immune to those thoughts. It's just whether or not we are aware of them. You know,
yes.
Many people say, "Oh, I don't do that," but they have never gone through that mindfulness training to get to the point of discovery to realize how much any of those negative thoughts are maybe holding them back.
Yes, because most people, until they start doing the mindfulness stuff, don't even realize they're there. Because that is the first step, is becoming aware of what is actually going on in here.
Yes.
And then understanding what's going on in here. And it all goes back to thoughts and emotions, and that's where these precepts of creativity are so spot on.
Yes, and the discovery. It's
yes.
all a discovery process. When people say, well, what does mindfulness mean? You know, does that mean I have to focus on something? Well, mindfulness is just bringing yourself into awareness. And if you want to use another word, discovery is a good one. It's self-discovery.
Yes, awareness of self.
Self-help and self-development come for it. It's a discovery of who we are and what we're capable of.
Yeah. Instead of constantly looking out, shifting our focus in, not in a selfish sort of way, and that's a whole nother trigger topic.
Yes,
selfish isn't a bad thing. You must be selfish, self first, air mask first, take care of self
first. Exactly.
Self-aware, aware of who you are, then you can start to focus outward. Okay.
It's really interesting. You know, when you're looking at, if you're watching us, you'll see that we have very different hues going on. We're joking about this beforehand because I'm at the office right now. I didn't have time to run home to a different background. But I actually, you know what? I want to interrupt myself here and tell you that this is a piece done by a local artist of the rocks down at Beavertail. And I used to jump on these rocks as a kid. So even though I'm here and I could be complaining about everything. I could be complaining about the brick wall or the lights or whatever, but it really brings home to me.
Nice.
But anyway, after getting myself back focused here, it's funny that I have this blue hue going, and Jennifer, you have this rosy hue going, and it is exactly what we're introducing with Precept 5 today. It's finding the balance in using colors and emotions and thoughts as tools in order to balance ourselves and drive forward.
Very cool. Very good.
let me see. I'm going to screen share here. And as always, I wonder. Don't know if that's it or not. Is that it? Yes, it is. Okay. Our 10 Precepts of Creativity, tapping the creative force for any goal. If you haven't seen the first 4, please go check them out. You know what? I gotta tell you something. I gotta. Where did I go? I lost myself. I just totally lost myself. I just got really excited on something. Oh gosh. You know what? Let me just
Okay.
begin here.
Well, let me see if I can help bring you back, because you were talking about if you haven't seen the first 4, please go see them.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. I was complaining in the beginning, or I wasn't really complaining. I was like a little bit of self-flagellation there. I was poking fun at myself for not really getting the true technical hang of the Hangouts yet, and getting myself a bit lost with the events and the Hangouts as to which one you broadcast and how you use it, if you're going to schedule it for later. And I realized that I had 2 different headings for last week. I had number 3 and number 4. And I kept trying to edit it, and I couldn't edit it, and I was ready to just hang the whole thing up. And then I figured, you know what, I'm going to just poke fun at myself. So I'm going to poke fun at myself again and let everybody know that, hey, nothing is ever perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So just if you get a little confused right now, keep in mind that these are the live days where we're creating these packages, and you're seeing all the little glitches as we go along.
But that's, Michaela, we laugh about that, but I honestly think that there's great value in showing people you could still move forward imperfectly.
I think we need to. I think we absolutely need to show people that, because traditionally we've been told not to hide that stuff, to keep, to just put it out there if you're okay with it. But I say, and I think you may say this too, Jennifer, put it out there even if you aren't okay with it.
Yeah. It shows humanity. It shows a vulnerability, and it shows a transparency that I think most people are craving, because we aren't hiding behind anything. This is it. We're human, and we fall down, we shine, we swim in mediocrity at times, and through all of it we continue to show up. And in every single circumstance, we bring something that is vitally necessary to the world. Even if it's being, hey guys, guess what? I'm here. The best I could do today was to get out of bed. Yay! Because in all honesty, some days those are days like that. And every single solitary person on the face of the planet has had a day like that. Yet they're always told to hide it.
Right, just like the last 2 minutes, I thought we were on a screen share.
No worries, you're beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you, and you are too, my dear. That's not to say, again, we're going to talk about balance today, because people can take that to an extreme. I mean, it is very good to be transparent, to have integrity, and to show integrity, and to be willing to share truth. But if you can't control your emotions, I know a few people who, when you're in a business meeting, or you're trying to create business, and if somebody is a little bit too curt with another person, and that person suddenly starts crying, or that just, I don't know, if you find that you're in a public place and you're always crying, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that hopefully these exercises will show you that there's a big difference between using your emotions as tools rather than being consumed and letting them define you.
Yes.
And that has, and you know, we do have a public persona, and we tend to get really, really tight. I mean, so many people are afraid of public speaking. I always dreamed of being a movie star or a rock star, but I was always so afraid to get out there on stage that I would end up in a puddle mess and screw up the auditions. And I didn't have the tools at that time to realize that those kind of emotions, that kind of stress, is actually eustress, EU stress, you know, eustress, which is a kind of pressure that you need to use to focus.
Fascinating.
But I am digressing again, so.
Well, I'm gonna make a statement here and bring us all back, because your comment about, you know, if you find yourself crying all the time, yes, and start asking questions.
Yes.
I mean, the showing up of the excessive emotion, there's something that's trying to get your attention.
Yes.
What is it? Start asking questions, and exactly of using them as tools. So this is showing up. What does this mean?
And by the same token, on the other side, and this is particularly directed toward the macho energies out there. I say macho energies because I got a bit of macho in me. You know, I'm a tomboy, and it's the thing about with a lot of men and males is they're told not to express their emotions, and even if they are emotional, they're so afraid of revealing their emotions or even breaking down with tears that they cut it all off. And hopefully what we've gone through with the last week, those last 10 weeks of blasting through self-limiting beliefs, and also now with the creativity, is that it does. I'm not presenting my precepts here in order to get you to open up emotionally with other people and all that. You know, that's another. Let's say that for another day. This is a relationship with ourselves. And when instead of being fearful of showing and having to put a shield up on our emotions and never showing our emotions, those emotions are in there anyway. They're still deep. Even with people who don't share them, they're still feeling them. They've just learned how to put that big bar up. It's learning how to look at them and use them in order to break through whatever it is that is holding us back from our creative force.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to try to do a screen share again. Let's see if I can do it correctly this time. There we go.
Yay!
Oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. That was last week's. Okay. Let me do it again.
Okay.
Wait a minute. That's still not last week's? Hold on a minute.
Okay, I'm not
Creative
going to.
4. No. Creative, yeah, where are we going? Creative 5, there we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'll just close that other one out there, okay? I continue to want to review. Oh, can you see the screen, by the way?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. All right. Again, this is cumulative, and as we go along, just like we did with the self-limiting beliefs, as we keep going back to earlier points, because they all are cumulative. They all build up, and they build the foundations of your great creative force that all of us have within us. And reminding ourselves every day that creative force permeates everything and every being in our universe, whether it be animal or mineral, whether it be the wind even. A lot of messages come on the wind.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just, an insight, my son came over and spent the night He had moved out a couple weeks ago after he graduated high school. He came back and spent the night last night, and he woke up this morning and was making a comment about the fact that it is windy here today, and how that's something that he didn't realize was so important to him, but where he moved, there's no wind. And that he's noticing how much he needs the moving air because otherwise it's stagnant. And so, yes, lots of things shift and move in the wind.
Yes, and life needs that movement of wind.
Yes.
That's interesting. I just did on my bird blog, I posted a video of some ducklings that were following their mother. And the wind got really strong and knocked all of them, even the mother, over. And they were rolling and rolling across the plaza. And you know, at first I thought, oh, this is so horrible. I can't post something like this because everyone will just laugh at them and laugh at these poor ducklings. But then the ducklings just got up. They shook themselves off and they got right back into the line and they kept following the mom. And I thought, you know, that's the resiliency that we need. We need to, even if we do get blown over, we need to just get up, shake ourselves off. I'll have to post the link to that one.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Yes. So I'm not going to go through all these, but I just wanted to give everybody a chance to read them as we're talking, because obviously that's what people do when they're listening. They're also reading what's on the page there. Mm-hmm. And last week we talked about the when conditions are set up, other conditions are automatically attracted and support. And, you know, I want to talk about that for just a second of what you just said, Jennifer, about, you know, we start doubting ourselves and saying, oh, why am I doing this shit? Why don't I, you know, just go back into the workforce? And as you were saying that, I was thinking of the flip side of it, because without entrepreneurs, without business people, without people forging ahead with creative ideas, we would have no workforce.
Yes.
And when I was a teacher and doing a lot of research in education years ago, I found out that no matter where you are in the world, bullying is almost 50-50%. You're either bullying somebody or you're a bullier. And it's like 40%, and then there's like 10% of people who are kind of neutral. But it was shocking to see those kind of statistics, because everything about our world works on a dual thing where we have a flip side. We have a flip side to coins. We have a front and a back and a day and a night, and everything is one or the other. And it's a matter of choosing. Do you want to be in the workforce, or do you want to have a business? Mm-hmm. Do you want to create? Do you want to get out there and create and to sell to people, or do you want to work for people and get a paycheck? It's all about options. Mm-hmm. It's not that one is better or that we have to choose one or the other. You know, I don't have to choose to sit in the back seat. I can just sit in the front seat if I want to.
Correct.
But if I don't want to be in the front seat, you know, that back seat looks looking pretty comfy.
Yes, yes.
So here we are at Precept of Creativity, number 5. Emotions and thoughts are tools, not definitions of who we are.
Very good.
We get so caught up in our emotions. And how many times have we thrown out excuses because we have fears of something that we don't want to do?
Oh, yeah.
Something that we don't want to do, for whatever reason. We don't want to. We don't want to go out because it's raining. So we use the excuse, oh, it's raining. So, you know, just use an excuse to be lazy, or use an excuse to relieve ourselves from the fear of performing. Oh my gosh, go to a networking party. I had to meet people, and I don't have my business cards, or I don't, you know, my website isn't up to date. I shouldn't be going out, and I need to spend more time at home because you know, my parrot's angry at me. Whatever it is, we look for the easy way out. So if you stop for a moment and think, instead of allowing those emotions, you know, how many times we say, oh, I'm so emotional. or he is so cold, or she is so annoying, or whatever. We throw emotions, we throw our thoughts out there, and we use those thoughts and those emotions to define who we are as
Yes.
people. And going back to the mindfulness training, it's about realizing that we don't need to be so egocentric and caught up in defining who we are according to our personality. Because the more we do that, the more we tend to gravitate toward a negative side where we're looking at differences. Differences can be very beautiful. A still life painting with different fruits is defined, the very definition of beauty, because there are so many different facets to it. But
humanity is nothing more than a bowl of a bunch of different fruits.
yes, we're all just a bunch of we're just a big fruit cake.
Yes. Some baked, some half baked, some not baked at all. Just get along. We're all in the same fruit bowl.
And with 7 billion people on the planet, we have 7 billion individual personalities.
Mm-hmm.
How about if we start looking at how we can balance and work them together to bring about a beautiful force of creation?
Fabulous. And you know what? Excuse me. This segues beautifully into the story that I was telling you about my son.
Oh, good. Yes.
And
yep.
Because he was one of the ones that came up and thanked me for helping him vicariously, because he has been in the background listening to one side of Skype conversations, and he has become the go-to person in his circle of friends. Whenever his friends are having emotional issues, they come and they find Aaron and they talk to him.
Wow.
And yeah, his friend last night goes, I don't know how you do what you do. He goes, but you're the only person that I can open up to. And my son's response was, he goes, well, all I can say is I've learned from the best.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I asked him, he came home and he was telling me about it and telling me his process. And it was exactly what you were just talking about. He would find the common ground, the common areas between he and his friends, and then start to share his own personal stories of how he dealt with something similar to what his friend was talking about. And then he would listen, and he would watch, and he would feel to what his friend was saying and see where the energetic discrepancy was between his feelings and his words, and be able to bring his friend back and go, so what's that? This is what you said, but this is how it felt. What's that? So,
beautiful.
Yeah, I was so floored, but it all goes back to what is the commonality. Instead of trying to point and make fun of or preach or teach, it's just like, oh yeah, I understand. When I was in this situation, this is what I did. And he's relatable to everybody. And so it just goes back to the whole finding common ground instead of looking for the differences.
Jennifer, have you done any boating?
Boating?
Yes. Sailing?
No.
Sailing?
No, not sailing. Fishing boats with
all right,
motors.
just fishing boats. I'm using it. I'm going to use that as an example. I'm just thinking that maybe a lot of people haven't ever been on a boat or a sailboat. Although I've spent probably the equivalent of a few years on boats.
Wow.
And when you get onto a boat, whether it be a rowboat or a canoe or a sailboat, or even if it's a large boat, it doesn't matter. Oh, what are you talking about? We met on a boat. Isn't that
yes, we did, didn't we?
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. So whenever you get onto, and I'll use a rowboat as an example because it's the easiest one to imagine, is that you need to have yourself centered in order to move forward. You
If
need
you want to stay dry.
exactly. If you want to stay dry, and if you don't want to flood out the boat, if you want that boat to act as a vehicle, you need to stay balanced. And if there are two people, and one is on one side, the other person needs to be on the other side in order to balance it out. You can't both be sitting together unless you are totally in the center. You need somehow to find a balance. And it's the same thing with emotions and thoughts. It's about recognizing, and this goes back to the mindfulness and awareness of discovery, that instead, last week we talked about emotions and not labeling them as good or bad or putting definitions on them like that, but just realizing that they're all just vibrations. They're going back to the first precept that everything is permeated with that creative energy. In mindfulness training, in discovery training, the big thing about finding balance is not always looking for the bliss and the happiness, but looking for the balance. Because if you're always looking to be happy and excited and to have these raging, positive emotions, strangely enough, that can be just as detrimental as the negative emotions.
Yes, and you're still out of balance.
You're still out of balance, exactly.
Yep.
So that brings us up to some exercises.
Oh, good.
Okay. In the beginning, some of these practice exercises are from the past. We're bringing them forward every time to be a witness. To always return to your emotions. Keep returning to your emotions. What are they right now? Are they positive? Are they neutral? Or are they negative? And where are you feeling them? I'm going to add a new step to that. What is the flip side of the emotion or thought you're experiencing right now? And look at them from a detached point of view. Look at them as if you can even look at it as a child. You can recognize it and say, yes, I see you anger you. And I'm smiling at you, anger. And where is your friend, happy? Okay, anger and happy. I think those are opposites, are they?
Close.
Close enough. I suppose there's another one that would be better, satisfied or whatever.
Oh,
You
I
can
don't
find
know
your
better.
own. Yes.
Better or worse? No. Every person is going to have difference.
Yes.
Different labels, different words, different meanings for those words. So,
Yeah.
I don't mean to.
Oh, no. Yeah, I exactly. And when you're using this kind of visualization, you can also view that emotion as a weight on a balance.
Yes.
You can see, okay, what is the emotion or the thought on the opposite side that will balance these out?
And in fact, Michaela, to tell you the truth, seeing them as a balance or varying degrees of color, or a light or a dark in a color, is actually, I can see where that would be even more helpful than a good or bad, because the good and the bad those labels are worthy of questioning more. Why am I labeling it good? Why am I labeling it bad? Because that in itself, those labels are judgments. And they come from somewhere. But if you imagine it as a scale, as weights on a scale, then that is a neutral ground. The same way with the colors or the intensity of light, it has a perceived meaning, yet it doesn't have the labeled meaning. And I think that people may actually get more out of it by that. That's brilliant, Michaela.
We are brilliant, my dear.
I'm not arguing.
What is the flip side of brilliance? Ignorance, maybe. Let me see. I'm going to turn off the screen share. I want to go, but there we go. Again, I love that. I love that. There's looking at the spectrum and looking at because this is what we've been talking about week after week after week with the definitions. We get caught up in the definitions.
Mm-hmm.
We get caught up and we put a definition. We put the closest definition that we can think of onto something, and then we create a belief system around that.
Yeah.
And the mindfulness training is all about just being a witness. If you're having any trouble with anything that we're doing here, go back to the breath. Go back to breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe. I know that in the future, after this session, I don't know if what's going to be in between, but I know I can feel a 10-week meditation session series coming up. Because a lot of what people do is they don't take it to the full step. It's like turning on the computer but never turning on the monitor.
Huh.
And it's saying, well, it's on, but I'm still in the dark.
Still not seeing anything.
Yeah, so it's all about insight. And getting back to the emotions there, in finding those emotions and recognizing the emotions. I'll give you an example, okay? Famous people. A lot of famous people evoke very strong emotions in people. Either they really love them or they really hate them, in many cases. Obviously not in all cases, but in many cases that's very true. That happens with politicians. It happens with a lot of things. And years ago, oh gosh, when I first started to do this kind of creative meditative work, I realized that famous people are put out there by the planet, for example, or they become up there not because there's anything really special about that person, any more special than any of us, but because we as a society have given that person the road or the attention, let's say, the attention that allows them to get up there. So in fact, famous people can be looked on as icons. They are icons for our own being, for who we are and how we relate to the world. So to try to personalize a famous person may not be as helpful to your creative process as looking at the icon of that famous person or whoever it is, or famous product, looking at it and relating to it in terms of what it evokes within us. It goes back to the Dream series that I did a couple of years ago now. It's not so much the psychodrama. The psychodrama isn't as important as the emotion that's evoked because of that psychodrama. So
Yes.
that's what we get from gossip magazines or from the news or whatever it is, evoking and provoking.
Yes.
And if we can see what it is that and how those icons are evoking emotions in us, it's a lot easier to tap into, recognize what our emotions are. Have you ever said to somebody, well, why do you hate Miley Cyrus so much? And they're like, because she does this and she's like that and she's got this long tongue and that's all conceptualization. There's got to be a better reason than that.
Yeah.
And there's got to be something deep in, because whatever it is, we're looking at the emotions, we're looking at the evoking of the thoughts and how that relates to our own creative process. I think a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I asked, we were talking about anger. And anger is a good example. You can use the flip side, this balance that we're talking about. It could be anger, it can be frustration, it could be whatever negative emotion it is that is holding you back. And that flip side, find a question that will evoke the positive. And the question may be, what is it that I am not doing that I really want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that can bring you right back into balance. And then go out and do it. Don't just say, well, I want to do this, but I can't.
Right.
I really want to go jump on these rocks, and I can't because it's just a painting, and I'm here in a room. You know what I'm going to do after this? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go out there and go jump on these rocks.
You're going to go to the beach, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to the rocks. Yeah, going to the shore. Go to the shore. Go to the shore.
Very cool. Oh, the number of things that went flooding through my head when you were talking about Miley Cyrus and the judgments that people have. She is like a beautiful current day example. Back in my day, and it was Madonna when she first started out. And the first part of my chakra training and shadow training uses these examples because they're like bringing out the flip side of what we're supposed to be. Yet the words that we use to describe them are things that we actually want, because they see the power. These people are able to command huge amounts of power, and yet the judgment that we personally have towards them is showing our own limitations of using our own power. And
wow. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very fascinating to listen to people's judgments and limits that they place on other people, because it always comes back to our own beliefs about what we can and cannot do. So, yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to get too deep in that one, but that one was like too big.
Yeah, and two, those self-limiting beliefs and everything. They all are tools. Everything is a tool.
Yes.
Our emotions. Our precept number 5 today is about recognizing the emotions, whether they are self-limiting beliefs or whether they are triggered by outside forces or whether they're self-inflicted pity sessions or even the opposite, ego, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's recognizing these thoughts and these emotions as the tools that they are given to us by the creative force itself to use. Because this is what this whole series is about, the 10 Precepts of Creativity. And it's about laying a foundation down so that you are there every day at 9 o'clock or 6 a.m. or whatever time it is, and you're putting it out there every single day, and you're moving toward your goal. You're not feeling sorry for yourself anymore, because I'll tell you, I have had flat tires on the highway. And as long as I sat there crying and complaining that nobody would come to help me, and that I didn't know how to change a flat tire, and that the AAA or whoever, the roadside service, said they couldn't get there for 2 or 3 hours because it was raining and commuter traffic, you name it, whatever the excuse is. As long as I sat there and felt sorry for myself, I wasn't moving.
Yeah.
I wasn't moving at all. So you find windows. When a door closes, you find a window that opens, and you fly out that window.
Yes, look for the divinity in every moment, because it doesn't happen randomly. There is a reason for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you can't get out there and change that tire yourself, call a lifeline out to a friend. Yes. I'm using this example because when I was living in Hawaii, I was in a rock band, and we were having a rehearsal, and it was pouring rain, and it was commuter traffic. It was really bad, and yes, I blew out right on the highway there, and I called the roadside service, and they said, sorry, we've got a backup of, I don't know when we'll be able to get to you. And I sat there cursing and angry and all upset, and I was missing the thing and everything. And so I called the guys in the band. And I told them that I probably wouldn't be able to make it. And I was too embarrassed and too loaded with my own self-pity, to ask them to come help me.
Oh, wow.
And but they could hear, because, I mean, gosh, I'm starting to cry just as I think about it, because there was so much love coming. There's so much aloha coming from these guys. You know, we're talking about, you know, 4 big Hawaiian guys and me. We're all in a band together. It was crazy. And about an hour went by, and I was really upset, and I was angry because I was missing the rehearsal, and I was putting them out, and they knew. And then I was like, and you know, they didn't even offer to come help me. And then I started, I mean, it just built, you know, negative, whatever. But we are taken care of, and we just need to trust that we're taken care of. It was at the point when I finally relaxed and said, okay, I'm going to get through this. Within 2 minutes, all 4 guys show up behind me. They park on the side. Within 5 minutes, the 4 of them had the tire changed.
I thought maybe they just picked it up and carried it.
They could have. And I was sitting there in the car, tears rolling down my face, because I was like, oh my God, they really did come to help me, and you know, I'm feeling so bad for myself and everything, and here they were helping me, and I was so full of gratitude for them. And I told them, I was like, wow, I can't believe you came to help me. And they're like, your sister. We help our family. We don't leave our family out there, you know, alone. And I was like, wow, you know, I'm part of the Ohana family.
Oh, how very cool.
Yeah.
What a great story. Got me tearing up.
Yes, you know, and that's going to be a part of it too. Today's precept almost was gratitude. But I needed to get this balance one in first.
Okay, well, cool. I'm going to share with you my morning.
Oh, please do, yes.
I woke up and I decided that I was going to make cards. I make greeting cards. I haven't done it literally in years. I have boxes and boxes of rubber stamps. I've got all the ink pads, the embossing powders, all of this.
Love it.
And I went through and I chose 4 people that I was going to make cards for, and gratitude was exactly the focus of each of the cards, because all 4 of these people either had a birthday coming up or had done something very special for me, and I don't feel that I had been good in expressing how grateful I was. So this was my way of doing it, and they have come together so quickly. In just a few short hours, I have 4 completely different themed cards ready to go. I just have a couple of finishing touches to do and do the envelopes, but the being able to identify, to feel, and to express gratitude is so huge in whatever way, shape, form we can do it.
Oh, Jennifer, I'm getting chills.
Oh, Michaela.
Before we came on and I saw you, it was about an hour before we came on, I pulled out this book by Julia Cameron, the one that we've been talking about with the morning pages, right? And for a variety of reasons, I'm going off and creating my own thing, and this has been one of the triggers for it. But I was flipping through and I just opened it up to something, and one of the homework exercises in here was to send out 5, it could have been 4, I think it was 4 or 5 cards to people. And it said something like, this is not a goody two-shoes exercise. This is sending a card out to somebody that you're grateful for and you really want to connect with.
Yes. Oh, how cool.
Here you are saying that you did it. We say this is the creative. It permeates everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yes. And as people go through this mindfulness and start to really walk this path and understand the divine inspirations, the tapping into this creative flow, you will start to notice the synchronicities and the common pathways, and it becomes quite exciting.
Absolutely, yes. And I want to send out an appeal to all of our viewers. Again, please ask questions and leave comments for us.
Yes.
When you hold, a lot of people get shy with this stuff because it is very personal. And I notice that while we're giving it, I don't know if we're either boring people or really interested. Well, there's a balance right there. Or that we're leaving people gobsmacked. I'm not sure what's going on inside, but we encourage you to share what's going on through questions or comments, because that helps us to get some feedback, to find out if there's any other facet that needs to be brought forward that we might not be looking at.
Yeah. And I know that some of our past ones have triggered a lot of people.
Yes.
And that's okay. That's okay. And you can send us a message about that too.
Yeah. And the beauty about sharing the questions and the comments is not that you as a viewer needs to worry about putting yourself out there on stage or anything, but keep in mind that if you're feeling that, if you're thinking that, guaranteed many others in the audience are too, and maybe have not stepped forward to express it. Yep. So if you can express that through feedback, through the comments below, it's a great help to everybody.
Yes. Yes, and you can choose to leave your name out of it. But if you have a question that keeps coming up or something that is really pressing on your heart, share it, please, because you can be guaranteed that there are other people that are thinking and feeling the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yes. Great insight. Thank you, Michaela.
Well,
yeah.
I think that we've done it. I'm going to just bring this one thing up last, just so everyone can take a quick look at those practice exercises again. Keep remembering to be a witness to your emotions. Don't let your emotions define you. And don't put any kind of what do I want to? What's that word?
Label.
Label. Yeah, label. Judgment. Don't put a judgment on your emotions or your thoughts. Don't judge them. That's kind of those are lower vibrations. You want to really bring your vibrations into alignment, the way you would fine-tune an instrument. So you fine-tune your instrument by witnessing your emotions and witnessing your thoughts, finding the flip side of them as well, and using that flip side again as the fine-tuning of your creative instrument that you are, that we all are. And when you balance that out, your wheels will be in alignment, they will be balanced, and you will be able to fly down that highway.
Yes. Excellent. Nice wrap-up.
Have you got anything else to offer, to share?
Well, I just keep coming back to that video and blog post that I did on Are You Aligned, talking about exactly that thing. If your tires are out of alignment on your car, you're constantly fighting against where you're wanting to go and where the car's going to go because of its alignment is off. Yeah, so I think I'll be bringing that one back up and posting it again because it seems to be a very common theme.
I was telling somebody a story just the other day, and I want to share this as a closing thought. A friend of mine and I, we went cross-country years ago, and when we were in Wyoming, we saw that we could go on a horse tour. We would get on, go with some cowboys and go riding out to this ranch, and they would give us a ranch hand kind of dinner and the fireplace and everything, then go back. Well, I had never done much riding, but I saw plenty of John Wayne movies, and I had never ever doubted that I could. I mean, I had animals around me my whole life, and I just saw the horse as just a different animal. So I didn't have any fear of the horse. I didn't have any doubt that I could actually ride the horse because I knew all the techniques from John Wayne. So my friend Jane, who was my age, it never occurred to me that she might have fear or that she, oh gosh, sorry, I didn't mean to use your name. She watches these too. But what happened was she had a real obstinate horse. And this horse kept going off into the bushes and eating. And no matter what she did, the horse did not want to listen to her. And she was getting really frustrated. I could see the tears starting to well up, the anger, whatever it was that she was going through, her emotions, because she was just so frustrated with this horse. And I had the most wonderful, lovely horse that you just needed to touch, and it would just go wherever you wanted it to go. And it was like a magic horse. It was this amazing horse. And I was kind of like trotting around. I didn't like to stay in the line, so I'd be trotting around with my horse. And I found Jane over in the bushes, and she was very upset. And the guide, one of the guides, was behind her. He was making a whip out of a branch, and he's saying, "Here, whip that horse." And he was swearing, and he was like, you gotta be angry. And I'm like, Jane, don't whip the horse, please. I said, listen, I somehow, we got her back on the trail, and we got there. And I thought, well, why don't we change horses? Because I got this wonderful horse, and I know that she'd have a lot more fun on that horse. So we switched horses. And I got on her obstinate bitch of a horse, and I played with the ears a little bit, and I whispered, and I patted it and everything, and I could feel the horse not wanting to do what I want, but kind of interested to know what I was doing with the air and stuff. And I tried to, it would not go, and then I knew I was going to do it, and I knew that I was going to be one with this horse. So I got it going. I could feel a lot of anger and frustration in the horse itself. I mean, right in all of those muscles of this great big horse. So I thought, I think this horse wants to run.
Yes.
So I started to gallop with the horse, and suddenly the horse is doing everything that I want it to do. Because we're galloping up, we're going back to the end, we're going back, we're going around, and the guide said to me, "Do you want a whip for that horse?" Again, he was swearing because he hated that horse, and I was like, "No, I don't need a whip for this horse." The horse and we got along famously. It was awesome.
Yes, and that's fabulous.
And it wasn't about my friend not knowing, and it wasn't about me being any better or whatever. It was about witnessing, about observing, and fine-tuning, seeing where the need is and fulfilling it.
Yes, being aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So we got into balance, and we were able to move forward on the horse trail.
Yeah. Woohoo!
So pick your vehicle.
Yes, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yes, find a way to get balanced.
Exactly.
Yes. All righty.
Okay, thank you so much. And please, I hope you will all enjoy. Please share with everybody. Yes. And we are here every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and noon on Pacific Time.
Thursday.
Thursdays, yes.
Thursdays. Okay, you said Wednesday.
Did I say Wednesday?
You did.
Oops. Scratch that.
Nah, so Thursdays.
Thursdays. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, dear Jennifer, and
bye.
Aloha. Namaste.
Thank you.